Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tracy and for today's video I'm taking part with the Global Monthly Video Collab Group. We are stamping up demonstrators from around the world. We get together every single month with a new theme. This month's theme is back to school. So let me show you the card that I have created. It is a blackboard card and it's a bit of a fun card. We're going to pull the pencil over and it has the sentiment of welcome back. All the supplies we're using for today's card can be seen on the screen. Head over to my blog for all the measurements and the supplies are listed over there as well. Okay, I'm so excited to be showing you this card. We're using the Harvest to Lowe's stamp set and the rectangle stitch dies to create that little window frame there. That's the fourth smallest in the rectangle stitched. So let's create that frame. We have a piece of crumb cake cardstock and this die is actually too small to create the frame that we're needing. So I'm doing partial die cutting here. So what I'm doing is I'm laying the die in and I'm not putting that second plate all the way over that die. So it only partially cuts it. We're going to line the two edges up in the tracks and do partial die cutting on that side as well. So it creates a great frame and it's a great way to use dies and stretch them out a little bit more as well. So we're going to create that easel now, and I have my paper trimmer here. We have a half a piece of A4 cardstock that's scored in half, and I'm going to line it up here at 3/4 of an inch and create a slit from the bottom going towards the top on either side. And then we're going to turn it sideways where the spine is on the left hand side there and line it up at the 3/4 inch mark, and we're going to cut from each slit, so from one slit right up to the second slit. So I've been really careful not to cut too much there, so I'm just going to use my paper snips to finish off that cutting. And there we have our easel. Isn't it gorgeous? So cute. Okay, so we have the frame. Now we're going to work with our blackboard image. So we have basic black cardstock here. I'm just going to bring my pencil in and create little marks so I know where the inside of my chalkboard is going to be. And I'm using just it's a Tim Holtz, what are they called? Blender. It's a blending tool. And so I'm just going to use Whisper White ink and blend a little bit of that white on the basic black cardstock. Creates a real chalky effect. So anyone who is probably around my age or older will know chalkboards. They're not used too often in schools anymore. So to create that slit, I've just popped that basic black cardstock in at the 2 3/8 inch mark and created that little slit. Okay, so moving on to the apple. From the Harvest to Lowe's stamp set, I've inked up Poppy Parade cardstock with Poppy Parade ink and punched it out with the Apple Builder punch. And then I'm using a lot of scraps in for this apple as well. So we have crumb cake for the stalk and garden green for the leaves. Now moving on, we have the pencil here and Daffodil Delight cardstock, and I've ran it through the subtle embossing folder. So we have bits of crumb cake card here and basic black, and I'm going to glue these together. And this is going to create our pencil. So I'm using that basic black piece as a bit of extra support. Okay, so bringing my snips in, and I'm just going to snip it down a little bit and then create that pencil. So this one here is not a sharp pencil, it's more of a dull pencil, and I actually like this one a little bit better. So I have the Rococo Rose here for our eraser, and then a piece of basic grey cardstock for our end of our pencil. These are just simple designs. You can create anything you want. I'm just doing these freehand, like I'm just creating them as I go. So moving on to the glue pot, we have Whisper White cardstock here, and I don't have a corner rounder, so I'm using my paper snips here to create the round corners. I'm using Pacific Point for the middle of our glue pot, and I also have some white jelly roller pens. Now these are quite old, and as you can see, they don't work so well. I think they're a little temperamental at the best of times anyway, but I'm just using them to create the glue sentiment there. Snipping down a piece of Daffodil Delight, and I'm using the rest of that Poppy Parade cardstock to create the top of our glue pot. Now that was the daisy punch that I used, but you can freehand as you go ahead as well. I've actually just gone through Pinterest and found these little designs and freehand all my little pieces, so it's really quite easy to do. So there we have our glue pot. We're now doing the apple, and really easy to pop together. I have a chalk stick there as well, because you can't have a blackboard without some chalk. And then what else are we going to do? We're going to now move on to our slider bit, so the welcome back. So I have a piece of basic black there. I've got Versamark ink and white embossing powder. The welcome back is from the Harvest Hello stamp set, and we're going to heat emboss that with the white embossing powder. If you're in need of any of the supplies I'm using for today's card or for any other card or project, you can purchase your Stampin' Up supplies through my online store. Use the hostess code for this month and I'll not only send you a handmade card, but I'll also send you a bundle tutorial as well. So this is for the inside of our card. It's a piece of Whisper White, and we're going to do the same as we've done with the crumb cake. I'm going to partially emboss, or partially die cut, sorry, that piece so it's nice and long. Now it's really easy to do, you just got to be thinking about what you're doing as you're doing it. And it gives it a really nice frame that I might have to use on another card. So I have Poppy Parade ink here, and we're doing the sentiment of to an A+ teacher. Okay, so I'm going to pop that sentiment through that slit, and I'm lining it up where the edge of the sentiment is, and we're going to glue the pencil down on top. So super simple. I'm going to chop off that extra from that pencil, and then now what we're going to do is we're going to create the stopper piece for so it doesn't pull all the way through. I'm just using a little piece of basic black cardstock that's left over on the table, and that's enough to stop it from pulling all the way through. Okay, I'm just taking off a little bit there. We're going to bring some of those foam adhesive strips, and I'm going to pop them all the way around the card. You really need to give extra stability with the card, and you need plenty of room. Now, if you can see, I'm going to move these two because they're in the road of that stopper. So that's just one thing to be really mindful of. You need to be able to pull that through without any problems. Okay, so taking the backings off, we're going to pop it straight down onto the card. And it's still looking a little bit boring, isn't it? Let's pop the frame over the top, which really makes the blackboard stand out. And I'm just using liquid glue for that one. And the pencil goes over the top, so just being careful with the glue there. I'm going to pop the apple down, and we're going to use some dimensionals for that. Now you can see the A+ on my sample card has been heat embossed straight onto the blackboard, and I did forget to do that. We're going to fix it up a little bit in the end, but if you do your heat embossing before you pop all those foam adhesive strips on the back, it will make your job a lot easier. So we're popping up the glue, the apple, and I've just glued the chalk stick straight down. The sentiment for the inside is going to be glued down as well. Then we're going to move on to that the pencil there. I have the Daffodil Dark stamping blends that I'm just going to colour a few pearls down just to create a little bit of extra bling. I just can't not create bling on my card. So we're just going to pop them down on the pencil. And this is where I work out that I haven't put my A+ on yet. So I've brought in a piece of scrap cardstock, and because there is other things on that sentiment, I've used some post-it paper to mask that off, inked it up in Versamark ink, and then I've taken the post-it notes off and heat embossed it with the white powder. So I'm just going to fussy cut around it, and honestly, once it goes on, you're not going to even really notice it too much. It doesn't stand out that much. So I've been able to secure the card without any problems. So I've got the fine tip glue pen, and I always find to get rid of a little bit before I start, and I'm just putting those little marks on the apple. It becomes really glossy and shiny. Beautiful. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card. If you have, please give me a thumbs up and I'd love it if you left me a comment. If you haven't hit subscribe yet, please do that as well. And in the description of this video, you can see all the links to the other demonstrators video hops. So go and check those out for me as well. I'll be back with another video very soon, so hopefully you can join me for that. Until then, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.